I got an email from the TED organisation this morning, Turner, what's it, Technology, Entertainment, Design, I think it stands for, not Turner. And it says this, Dear Fred, thank you for entering TED's inaugural Ads Worth Spreading initiative. We deeply appreciate your interest in this effort, and though we were not able to award your work this year, we are honoured by your participation. We received almost 1,000 entries from major agencies to tiny boutiques to college students and non-profits from around the world. Choosing only 10 winners was no easy task, so much so that we extended the group to include honourable mentions as well. The full list will be announced on the TED stage and posted on TED.com shortly. Thank you for participating and challenging the future of advertising. Thank you, TED. For those people who don't know, I made an advert recently called Drink Mountain Dew, which involved me saying that Mountain Dew was fucking shit and throwing the bottle off a cliff. Because it is fucking shit. It's carbonated soda water, advertised as if it's a health drink, and it ain't. Bit disappointed that I didn't get ads worth spreading, but never mind. I just thought I'd flesh out why I made that particular advert. I made it because I don't like advertising, and I don't like Mountain Dew, and I don't like the fact it's advertised alongside extreme sports, and I don't like anything about it. But I like the colour of it, actually. I haven't said that. I like the colour of the bottle. But why Mountain Dew? That's what I'm intrigued by, and why I thought it was appropriate to call it fucking shit. Because the thing about Mountain Dew is, the semiotics of that phrase is so interesting, I think. Why they choose those terms, Mountain Dew. Because when you think about it, Mountain Dew doesn't make a whole lot of sense, really, does it, as a phrase? So they're trying to do something. They're prompting certain kinds of associations in your mind, really. It's a bit of cognitive poetics going on there. They're tapping into the figurations that go on in your brain when you think about things, or when cognition takes place non-consciously, and forms associations, which makes you think that it might be quite a good thing. So when it's talking about mountains, it's associating certain things with mountains. Mountains are high places, and they narrow to a point at the top. This is pretty obvious, isn't it? But there's a whole set of associations that go with high places, which associate height with quality. That's why on graphs, the maximal points in a graph is a peak. There's no logical reason for that. The logical reason is an embodied logical reason, which comes from the fact that we have this association between quality and elevation. And the top of a peak is narrow, so it associates with rarity. Only a few people can reach the peak, and when they get there, only a few people can stand on them. So again, we have this association of quality with height and rarity with height. And it's the same kind of logic that allows people like Isaac Newton to say that, if I've seen further than other men, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of giants. The shoulders of giants is a high place which allows you to see further, and mountain is tapping into the same embodied logic. It's also the same reason why Paramount uses mountains, well, 2 mountains on its logo. It's why in old Roadrunner cartoons, all the inventions are made by the Acme company, the Acme Roadrunner Destruction Company. It's Coyote, isn't it? Does that? Like Wile E. Coyote makes all these purchases from Acme. Acme means the peak or the top of a mountain. It's also the same logic which allows us to think, I think, and this might be stretching the point a bit, it's the same logic which allows us to think of authority as being high. You submit to authority by lowering yourself and making authority look even higher, because it's the same logic. And the ultimate authority being God, or the gods, were often placed either on mountaintops or above mountaintops in the Empyrean and the even rarefied air above the mountains. So when you're invoking mountains, you're invoking quality and rarity and and authority as well, in a sense, and all of that kind of nest of viperous associations that go with that. The second part of that thing, dew, I think is related to that, actually, because dew obviously is the droplets of water that collect on grass, let's say, after a fog or after the night. It's effectively distilled water. So when we're invoking dew, we're invoking purity, purity, because literally dew is relatively pure water, because all of the solids and those kind of impurities have been taken out by the distillation process, which results in the dew formation. So dew is associated, as I say, with purity. It's also associated with nature, because it's not the artificial kind of condensation that you get on window panes when your central heating's turned up too high and it's picking that up, that kind of thing. It's the liquid that's forming out there in the natural world, where the real things are. And it's forming it almost in a way which is difficult to comprehend. It just seems to appear magically. It seems to just form out of the atmosphere. And the atmosphere itself, is the kind of ultimate substance in terms of associating with spirituality. The atmosphere and the distillates from that atmosphere are, invoke the sublime, don't they? The opposite of the heavy, hard, solid, well-bounded objects of day-to-day routine existence. The TV remotes, the mobile phones, the carrots, the things that we have around us are the stuff of the fallen solid flesh. They're not the stuff of the evanescent vaporous spirit. And the dew, which forms on the grass almost magically, does in some way, I think, invoke a suggestion that this is distilled spirit. It is as far away as it can get from the fallen flesh, while still actually being a material substance capable of being drunk. So for those reasons, I think the idea of mountain dew, even though together those words make very little sense. I mean, I guess dew does form on mountains, but it doesn't make an awful lot of sense. It makes a great deal of metaphorical sense because of the invocations that the associations with those substances is making. And those are associations entirely built on what it is to have a body and what it is to have experiences in the world. They're conceptual metaphors drawn out of embodied cognition, in my opinion. So why is it fucking shit? Or why am I saying it's fucking shit in that advert, which Ted, you bastard, so ungraciously underappreciated? Well, because I think, if you're going to go for the opposites, you can't get much better opposites than fucking and shit. I'm reminded of St. Augustine. There was a medieval philosopher, and he had this idea of the soul, I guess it would be, or the person, as being divided into these areas. The corporeal, the kind of spiritual, and the intellectual, which is, I think that's right. I might be not bang on with that, but the idea of that is that the corporeal existence, the physical flesh, is the lowest. It's definitely got a height metaphor going on there, and then the opposite of that is the kind of spiritually elevated intellectual stuff of thought, really. And as I've already said, the elevated, airy, fairy stuff of spirit and thought is the stuff that's trying to be invoked with mountain dew up there somewhere. And the opposite of that is the stuff of the fallen flesh. You also find it in Kierkegaard, by the way, who does a similar kind of layering thing with the, I can't remember the phrases he uses, but it's something like the aesthetic, the religious, something, the ethical, something like that. But again, these are layered upwards in this increasing order of rarity and rarefication. So the opposites of those rarefied, mountainous, dew-like, spiritual, rarefied substances are the stuff down at the bottom, impure, absolutely of the flesh. And you don't get much more impure of the flesh stuff than fucking and shit, in my opinion. Fucking and shit. Fucking and shit. Fucking and shit. So yeah, that's why mountain dew is fucking shit, because it's of the fallen flesh. Ted, you bastard.